Before the 2024 NFL Draft, Malik Nabers was a locked-in wide receiver 2 for this rookie class. Some folks even had him as wide receiver 1, but after we've learned the landing spots, things don't look so clear. There's a lot of questions around the fit with the New York Giants, so let's go ahead and answer them. Malik Nabers goes 6th overall to the New York Giants in what was otherwise a very chaotic first round of the 2024 NFL draft. Lots of rumors connecting Nabers and the Giants before the draft, but they went ahead and made the selection. And it does make things a little murky for fantasy football purposes. Let's go ahead and get into that landing spot, starting with the draft capital. Now, we need to point out right off the bat that although it might not be the best situation to step into, Nabers did secure top 10 overall NFL draft capital, which it's as good as we can ask for. It's rare, folks, to get wide receivers going off the board in the top 10 of the NFL draft, and we need to lead with the fact that that is significant. The challenge with understanding the Nabers value, though, is he also has Rome Odunze and Marvin Harrison Jr., who got that same draft capital. So this isn't a conversation about whether Malik Nabers is good or bad. It's a conversation about his relative value in an overall strong wide receiver class. Now, when it comes to the Giants specifically, the good news here is that Malik Nabers is going to step in as the immediate wide receiver 1. There's no question about who is going to lead this team in target share. The Giants are otherwise going to rely on Darius Slayton, who's been a really consistent secondary option for them. And they're going to hope for a big sophomore year jump for Jalen Hyatt. We're not even sure whether or not Darren Waller will be on the field this season. So they're going to rely on the former LSU wide receiver to give this otherwise dreadful offense a bit of a spark. Now, the challenge that comes with that is the quarterback situation. So Daniel Jones had an excellent 2022 season and just a pitiful 2023 season before missing some time with injury and, getting replaced by Tommy Cutlets. It was a full rotation for the 2023 season. And now heading into 2024, things still look ominous in this quarterback room. You're not sure what you're going to get out of Daniel Jones. He's on the second year of a massive deal, but the Giants have a full out after this season. And they do have injury guarantees they would have to pay out to Daniel Jones, which is why a lot of folks think that Drew Lock may have been brought in this offseason to take over after the first few games of the season, assuming the Giants are once again heading towards a losing record. That could cause a lot of chaos and confusion with the way that we work a projection for Malik Nabers. Now, the biggest challenge when it comes to his projection, and we're going to show that full projection here in a second, but the biggest challenge I need you to understand is that when we're working with a Daniel Jones offense, we're talking about a really low passing touchdown volume. He's never had a significant passing touchdown season. And so in my projections, I have Daniel Jones at 18 passing touchdowns this season. That's not a lot to go around between Malik Nabers and the other wide receivers in this offense. So that's the situation. That's the setup. And if I haven't clarified things at all for you, it's because that's where we're working with here, folks. It is a confusing situation, but I think what helps for me is getting into the spreadsheet, getting into the numbers of it here. Once we see that, I think we'll come away a little bit more confident with what we're going to see from Malik Nabers as a rookie with the New York Giants. So let's look here at my breakdown. I have met a 22% of the team market share. Now, that's pretty high relative to an offense. If a wide receiver has over 18%, that's going to be a pretty significant volume load. With Malik Nabers, I mentioned it here, there's really nobody that's going to take that away from him. And the fact that the Giants invested that 6th overall pick suggests that they're willing to give him the lion's share of the targets. So at 22%, that's going to equal 122 targets. Now, if you're doing some quick math in your head, I'm projecting 555 passing attempts from Daniel Jones this season. That's on track with his past numbers. It is significantly higher from the Giants offense last year, but remember, there was that rotation of Tyrod and Tommy Cutlets floating in and out. So we're going to get up to a little over 550 passing attempts for Daniel Jones, and Malik Nabers should see about 122 of those. I have been a 67% catch percentage, which is on the higher end for a rookie wide receiver, but I think is absolutely within the realm of possibility, given the fact that Malik Nabers, one, has always had a high catch percentage, but also has displayed really sticky hands throughout his tape and time at LSU with multiple quarterbacks. So translating that to actual yardage here, I have 13 yards per reception. Now, this is the most tricky number to fit into this projection because I'm still curious how the Giants are going to be using Malik Nabers. Given the lack of arm talent overall by Daniel Jones, you have to think that they will be targeting him in the short and intermediate field more often than they'll be asking him to work deep downfield. So this number actually might be a little generous. 12 or 12 and a half might be more realistic, but I do trust Nabers and his ability to win downfield. So I don't want to automatically assume they're going to rely on digs, on slants, on drag routes. They will, I hope, have him work some deep comebacks, work some post routes, and then allow him to work vertically along the boundary as well. Here's the big limiting factor. When we're talking about rookies that have high production early on in their career, it comes especially when you get to that 7, 8, 10 receiving touchdown mark. It's 5 receiving touchdowns for Malik Nabers. That's leading the team. There hasn't been a lot of guys for the Giants over the last couple of years since Daniel Jones has been there that have gotten over 5 receiving touchdowns. So if we're just being realistic about it, doesn't make sense to project him with much more than 5 receiving touchdowns, although I definitely believe Malik Nabers has the talent to be a 7, 8, 10 receiving touchdown type guy. So the question is, all right, that looks good. That doesn't look bad. It's all relative, right? So if we're going to put Malik Nabers into a spreadsheet to get a projection, how does that show up relative to some other wide receivers here in their value going in startup drafts or going on the trade market? If you want to get ahead of your league mates, there is no better way to do it than to head on over to patreon.com/rookiebigboard and check out the fantastic resources we have available to help you win your rookie drafts. Updated, accurate, proven rookie rankings here. Over 86 prospects watched in this 2024 class. So we go deep, helping you win at the top and the depth of your rookie drafts. The 2024 rookie guide will be updated with 2024 seasonal projections for all rookies, 86 full profiles, over 115 pages of insight and analysis, coming to you the Sunday after the NFL draft. And we have personalized advice via the Rookie Big Board Discord and one-on-one draft consultation calls. It's personalized, it's accurate, and it's a really fantastic community to be a part of. Head on over to patreon.com/rookiebigboard now. And for just $5 a month, you can start winning your rookie drafts. So Malik Nabers is going to show up in the projections as wide receiver 27 overall. So he is a high-end wide receiver 3. That is my current projection for him. It's not the most exciting projection, if we're being completely honest, but it's also not a bad projection, right? If you were to compare this with Jordan Addison and Jackson Smith-Njigba from last year, this would be a little bit lower than when I had Jordan Addison. I had Jordan Addison in the late teens, and that's where he hit. And it's a little bit higher than Jackson Smith-Njigba, who I had as wide receiver 36, and he landed right in that same spot. So I think Malik Nabers will be sort of in between those two guys. In terms of relative dynasty veterans that you can compare him to, wide receiver 26 for me in my projections is T. Higgins at 10.5 points per game in a half PPR format. And below him at wide receiver 28 is Terry McLaurin with 10 fantasy points per game in a half PPR format. So again, these are guys that you're going to have in your starting lineup. They're going to be consistent producers for you. And I do believe that Malik Nabers will slot into your wide receiver 2 role If you have a talented group, he'll slide into your flex role, and he will be a reliable guy week in, week out that's going to score you somewhere between, 9 and 12 points. He may have a few bigger weeks, but I just don't think you're going to see those smash weeks in the same way. So if we're going to convert that seasonal value into his dynasty impact, how far did he fall from this landing spot? Going into the night, he was my 105, the fifth guy on the rookie big board, and he does slide down just a few spots here. JJ McCarthy is the big leapfrog for him. So he's going to go from 105 to 107. Still wide receiver 2 for me. I'm going to talk more about Rome Odunze in a separate video, but he is still wide receiver 2, just slightly ahead of Rome Odunze. And, in terms of the dynasty wide receiver context here, wide receiver 16 overall for fantasy football. So that is a really solid wide receiver too. I want to emphasize this here. Even with some lowered expectations from his rookie season, I do still think Malik Nabers is going to have a strong dynasty impact. I think he is going to be worth targeting in the third round of dynasty startups. He's going to be a valuable player to have on your team. And in terms of my rookie draft exposure, I'm going to have between 11 and 25% exposure to him, a really healthy number. I don't want to overload myself. I don't want to overexpose myself to anybody on the New York Giants offense, but at the end of the day, I do believe in the talent of Malik Nabers, and that should ultimately guide your decision-making when it comes to your rookie drafts. So there you have it here. Malik Nabers still the wide receiver 2, despite the fact that he is in a bit of a Giants mess here for his rookie season. If you enjoy this content, you want to see those updated projections, those updated rankings all the way through draft night and all the way through the offseason, quite frankly, head on over to patreon.com/rookiebigboard to get ahead of your league mates with the rankings, with the personalized advice, and with the 2024 rookie guide. Hey, I appreciate you checking out this video.